I always knew that he married me just to force his first love to return to the country, so as soon as his first love returned, I immediately signed the divorce agreement. But a month later, I was pregnant. Just as I was determined to have an abortion, he suddenly told me that we were not yet divorced. When I reached the entrance of my condo, I froze. My ex-husband Isaac was there, leaning against the doorframe. His black trousers and white shirt, immaculately buttoned, made him look distant and commanding. A cigarette hung between his fingers, smoke swirling around him, amplifying the intimidating aura he carried when he wasn't wearing glasses. My instinct screamed to maintain my distance. We'd been divorced for a month, and I hadn't expected him to show up, especially not like this. "Come here," he said, his voice firm, his piercing gaze locked on me. I didn't move. "We're divorced, Isaac. You don't get to order me around anymore. If you've got something to say it from there." His jaw tightened. "Jasmine Smith, come here." His commanding tone didn't faze me. Instead, I folded my arms, my defiance on full display. "We're not married. You have no say over what I do anymore, or who I see." His eyes darkened, and before I knew it, he was moving toward me. The shadows seemed to stretch with him, suffocating the air between us. My feet wanted to retreat, but I forced myself to hold my ground. "Who gave you the right to flirt with other men?" he demanded, his voice cutting like a blade. I raised a brow, unbothered by his possessive tone. "Mr. Lawson, shouldn't you be asking yourself that question? You've rekindled things with Shirley, haven't you?" My smirk deepened as I added, "Does she know you're here? Maybe I should let her know." I reached for my phone, but he was faster. His hand caught mine, the steel in his grip startling me. "We're not divorced," he said. I blinked, stunned. "What?" "I didn't sign the papers. Legally, we're still married, and as my wife, you don't get to flirt with other men." I stared at him, anger bubbling beneath my skin. "So now you care. You've spent the last month glued to Shirley. What are you doing here?" He didn't answer, just stepped closer, his hand gripping my wrist with unsettling ease. "Whose car were you in earlier?" His jealousy was suffocating. I shoved him away. "You get to ask that. You think you can just walk away from this marriage?" he hissed, his face inches from mine. "Why not?" I shot back. "You're the one who wanted Shirley. Let me find my happiness, Isaac." But instead of retreating, he leaned in, his voice low and dangerous. "Does he know you're married?" "He does," I replied, meeting his gaze head on. "And he knows I'm leaving you." His silence spoke volumes. For the first time, he seemed uncertain, his confidence shaken by my boldness. But just as I thought I had the upper hand, his phone rang. Shirley's name flashed on the screen. Without thinking, I grabbed it and answered. "Isaac's busy," I said, my tone dripping with sarcasm. Before he could stop me, I leaned up and kissed him, silencing his protest. The air between us sparked with an intensity one hadn't felt in years. I could hear Shirley's voice faintly on the line, but I didn't care. Isaac finally pulled away, his eyes burning with a mixture of anger and something else, something deeper. He grabbed my arm and dragged me into the stairwell, his grip unrelenting. "You started this, Jasmine," he growled. "You don't get to walk away." What happened next was chaos. His touch was rough, his emotions raw. The years of tension between us erupted, leaving us both